Hello, my name is Tara Zahrani, and today I'm going to present to you four main theories that we must know studying this course. Okay, starting with African Americans theory. When we talk about this theory, we must know that the majority of America consists of African Americans. Therefore, this theory is very important for us. Racism plays a great role as a literary record of African American experience, and it refers to the belief in racial superiority, inferiority, and purity based on the conviction that moral and intellectual characteristics, just like physical characteristics, are biological properties that differentiate the races. So the method here is that the African American literature has focused on a number of recurring historical and social issues, all of which reflect the reality of political and social power and the black American experience. It also includes correcting stereotypes of African Americans. We have a great example here for African American struggle or racism. We have Great Gatsby. Even the writer himself tried to explain for us this not theory, this struggle, by showing us this character, which is Tom. Tom is a white racist man. He feels himself superior. Moving on to the next theory, which is deconstructive theory. It is developed by Derrida in 1916s and 1917s. It is based on the belief that language is much more unstable and ambiguous than we realize. It is a philosophical method and a new way of reading the text and understand the content. However, for the deconstruction theory, meaning is not a fixed element that present in the text, but rather than the meaning is created by the reader in the reading process. Moreover, the meaning created is not a fixed element. Instead, it consists of multiple meanings. In short, we create the meaning in the text as readers. The method is that the deconstructive reading is a dual reading that seeks to study the text and to prove its meanings by showing gaps and internal contradictions, to understand the language and the meaning of the text. It also seeks to discuss the various binary oppositions in language and thought. Example of binary oppositions reading, and also Great Gatsby. Great Gatsby, first, the dreams and love in the past, which was destroyed by the present, and the East inhabited by the rich nobles of the old wealth, opposite of the West. Post-colonialism. When we talk about colonialism, we usually think about the economic exploitation and the military exploitation of one country by another, and how colonial policies were reflected in literature. It talks about the previously colonized countries, but in this presentation we have to know 2 points. The first is the post-colonial identity. The second is the post-colonial debate. The post-colonial identity, which presents 2 concepts. The first concept is the cultural colonization, which is related to the idea of negative self-image. The second one that is related to post-colonial identity is colonialist ideology, and this is also called colonialist discourse, and this is very much related to the language. Post-colonial debates, there are 4 main issues critics debated about when it comes to post-colonialism. The first issue was non-white settler. The second issue was colonialism is not a thing of the past. We are living in colonized country under what we call cultural imperialism. The third issue here is that post-colonial criticism benefited from other theories like deconstructionism and post-colonialism to analyze the identity crisis. The last thing here is there is a concern that we are still going to talk about people in the first world. So the idea of the literary canon will be Western all the time. We will not bring the emotion and the problems that third and fourth world writers are talking about in their literature as a response to colonialism. We have a great example here for this theory, which is the novel written by Joseph Conrad, Heart of Darkness. So Heart of Darkness here speaks out loud about colonialism, about everything that it is related to this to the feeling of a colonized country, and as a writer of as a writer that gives the character the colonizer feeling, the feeling of going to another country and as a colonizer, and he expressed the citizen feeling, the African in the Congo. Lastly, we have the historical and cultural criticism. Historical, it seeks for any historical evidence in the text to know the facts about that era, including facts about the author's life and historical circumstances at that time. We have two types of critics on the historical criticism. The traditional historians, they believe that uncovering the facts about historical events is leading to reveal the facts of the era. Also, they are studying the author's life, so they basically think that if we study the background about any author, we can understand his or her work, and this is what traditional historians used to think or used to believe in. But on the opposite side, we have the new historicist. In contrast with the traditional, of course, they don't believe of having clear access to any facts of the history, except the basic facts of history. But the other thing is strictly a matter of interpretation, not facts. Also, the new critics think that the understanding of a text's meaning has nothing to do with the history background of the author, although the text and the historical background are equally important and linked to each other. So the method basically that or express that historical reading aims to find the meaning of the text through interpretation and make assumptions about the historical era in which it was written. Then we have the cultural. Cultural is a lived experience, not a fixed definition. More precisely, a culture is a collection of interactive cultures, each of which is growing and changing at any time, such as the intersection of gender, race, sexual orientation, socioeconomic, class, and etc. The method in this theory that we should make connections between the literary text, the culture in which it emerged, and the cultures in which it is interpreted. That's it for me. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you like it.